Mm, Coffee in hand, ready for another day of drawing. So let's do it. Let's get in our 10 minutes, our daily lines. Let's sneak them in there this morning, this afternoon, this evening, whatever time you draw. Before you get down to the real nitty gritty, before you get to work, before you start hammering away on those projects that are trying to point you to a particular goal, let's take just 10 minutes to warm up. Not just the hand, but the mind, and to do it without judgment, without expectation. Let's just let the base ground floor of this drawing program run without interruption for just 10 minutes. I was thinking of Paradise Lost when I did this drawing. Maybe some of you have seen some of my finished Paradise Lost pieces. Those are digital, but when I'm sort of lost for something to draw in anything, in pencil, in my sketchbook, I'll sometimes just think of a vibe or a feeling from Paradise Lost and draw that. It really doesn't take much effort because what I naturally want to draw kind of always looks like it could be from that story. Since this is from Paradise Lost, I thought I'd do a little reading for you guys. I thought I'd read the introduction to Paradise Lost, or to be more specific, the invocation of the muse from the very beginning, Paradise Lost. John Milton, the author, does this to sort of stay in line with the nature of the Homeric epics. They also begin with an invocation of the muse, the author making some sort of verbal offering or a deal with the muse to make sure that the story goes well. Anyway, Milton sort of takes his to another level. I think it might be interesting for us to learn from. I won't just read the relevant part. I'll read right from the beginning because it's just so beautiful. Of man's first disobedience, and the fruit of that forbidden tree, whose mortal taste brought death into the world, and all our woe, with loss of Eden, till one greater man restore us, and regain the blissful seat. Sing, heavenly muse, that on the secret top of Oreb or of Sinai didst inspire that shepherd who first taught the chosen seed in the beginning how the heavens and earth rose out of chaos, or if Sion hill delight thee more, and Siloa's brook that flowed fast by the oracle of God, I thence invoke thy aid to my adventurous song, that with no middle flight intends to soar above the Aeonian mount, while it pursues things unattempted yet in prose or rhyme. And chiefly thou, O Spirit, that dost prefer before all temples the upright heart and pure, instruct me, for thou know'st, thou from the first wast present, and with mighty wings outspread, dove-like, satst brooding on the vast abyss, and madest it pregnant. What in me is dark, illumine. What is low, raise and support. That to the height of this great argument I may assert the eternal providence and justify the ways of God to men. It's playing a little big, isn't it? Yeah, to justify the ways of God to men. What fascinates me about this, what keeps me thinking about this story all the time, is that this isn't a literary gambit. Milton isn't trying to trick you here. He is not taking on the role of a person who is trying to justify the ways of God to men. He firmly believes this, and he is actually asking for the insight delivered from without somewhere, from God, he thinks, to actually make this justification to the people who read his epic, which he felt then was divinely inspired or revelatory in some sense. That was his position, and he put it out there, and we still read this thing. It's still one of our great classics. He was crazy. He was plumb crazy. I love it. I just love it. He wasn't kidding. I I think the reason this fascinates me is because this is an example of this is what raw, unbridled artistic ambition can look like, right? Like, first things first, Milton was a poet. And in his creative processes attempt to expand endlessly into realms unknown, he not only wrought this incredibly vivid picture of hell and of the characters therein, and of purgatory and of earth and of heaven as well. Not only did he envision that and craft all of that, but he even did it within a framework that was sort of, it's beyond self-aggrandizing. It's like utterly self-validating. It's like a bottomless well of meaning if he really did bring himself to believe in that. Isn't that just strange? Isn't it interesting that that's how far artistic ambition can go? So what do we have to learn from that? Well, I'm none too sure, but I think at the very least we can sort of say that whatever our ambitions are for our art, they're probably not that big, right? We're probably not convinced that we have the mission to justify the ways of God to men in this world. Compared to that, which really did seem to be Milton's true purpose, our ambitions seem small, to have a good career, to be able to support our family, to enjoy what we're doing every now and then. It's like, look how much further out you can go. Look how far out into the extremes of the most metaphysically stretched questions art can get tied up with and still turn out okay, still make a great piece, still be beautifully crafted. Isn't that interesting? It can be that far out there and still be well in hand. Our ambitions, really not so much to worry about. Our ambitions are not going to break us. They're not going to break our practice. They're not going to destroy our art. We are free to act. I think that's at least a small thing we can take away from what Milton did here. And maybe that will encourage us to work hard in spite of it all, and know that people have done much grander, crazier, ill-advised things with their art, I'm sure, than what 99% of us are hoping to do. And that'll keep us going. And hopefully, to keep going will prevent us from regretting our lack of pursual later down the line. We wouldn't want to regret anything, right? Then we might wind up like this. This is one of my favorite passages from the poem. 9 times the space that measures day and night to mortal men, he with his horrid crew lay vanquished, rowling in the fiery gulf, confounded, though immortal. But his doom reserved him to more wrath, for now the thought both of lost happiness and lasting pain torments him. Round he throws his baleful eyes that witnessed huge affliction and dismay, mixed with obdurate pride and steadfast hate. At once as far as angels can, he views the dismal situation. Waste and wild, a dungeon horrible, on all sides round, as one great furnace flamed, yet from those flames no light, but rather darkness visible. So, don't put yourself in a dungeon horrible of your own making. Work now so that down the line you're not casting your baleful eye that witnesses affliction and dismay around this awful place. Do what you can to make a little heaven of drawing for yourself. Keep the joy in it. Thanks for drawing for 10 minutes today. Let's draw again soon.